What's up? Welcome back to Tales Tomorrow. I am Morrow, your storyteller for today, and I have some RPG horror stories to read. Also, I have a Warlock question to all the other Warlocks.
Morrow forgot to ask the question. Did you have a unique patron?
My fiend patron was a succubus, and before you start thinking, oh, Morrow is a pervert, ooh, boo-hoo. Yes, okay, I think succubus are really hot, okay? I just think the succubi are really cool. Anyway, let's get to the RPG horror stories. Is it just me, or are many Australians one of the rudest and most combative players? First off, let me say sorry to all the cool Australians. I lived in Sydney before, and I know there are cool people out there. But as a GM of 7 years, many games I run are online these days. More often than not, when I get an Australian player, they're often rude, ill-behaved, racist, or just plain weird. One player that I had, despite observing 4 games I ran, decided that the games I ran was too combat heavy the first time he played it and left halfway through the game. Another Australian player decided to be an edgy and shouted "fuck China" on his way into the Discord server. I am Chinese. Another Australian player complained non-stop about the rules of Cyberpunk Red, despite the GM and the player telling him that it's just the system. All of these attributes can honestly come from anybody. There are jerks out there from everywhere, and they come from all walks of life. They're just people that are jerks. Simple as that. Finally, I come to the most egregious Aussie weirdo of today. Recently, I had the good fortune to join a game, and this particular gentleman in the post-game wrap-up brought up that in China, nobles used to wear coins wrapped in copper wire to look fashionable. Now, for those who actually know ancient Chinese history, you would know that this is complete horseshit. When I revealed that I was Chinese and I knew my own history, he pointed out that this particular tidbit was left out because of the Cultural Revolution. I asked him for proof. He said majority of it was from ancient Japanese and Korean art and literature, but was unable to cite any sources. So the sources just trust me, bro. Like, if he just doesn't know, he doesn't know. But I mean, if he's being combative about it, then yeah, he's just a jerk. But like we said before, jerks come from everywhere. Jerks aren't just in Australia. Jerks can be everywhere. Other highlights of his combative behavior include being aggressively questioned by him because I asked about a minor character in system setting, citing that I should have read the entire book as a new player and see that this particular character is a faction unto himself. Calling out that I got the rules wrong when he actually got the rules wrong. After being contested, he decided to blame it on the GM. Then blamed it onto him only playing the playtest, then blamed it on this is how it ran at the table. Seriously, why are so many Australians so weird? Edit, forgot one particular rude person. Once I ran Lancer and there was a lack of players due to scheduling conflicts midweek. He decided to berate me and quit the game because I should have recruited more players. Talk about entitled. I've known jerks from all over the world, and I've known a lot of nice people from also a lot of the world. Some people are just jerks. They don't have to be a specific creed or country or whatever. Some people just can't be helped, they're just jerks. They don't have to be from Australia, they could be literally from everywhere. They'll be jerks regardless of what country. Player keeps wandering off, insulting our characters, and goes out of his way not to interact with the party. Because of this being an ongoing campaign, I'm going to try to keep things as vague as I can when it comes to people's identities. It's hard to say whether this person is a problem player or if we just have different playing styles, so I'll leave the jury of Reddit to decide on that. The player in question that I call David plays D&D in a way that's confusing to me. I've been in a few campaigns with him, and every single time he creates characters that are distant from the party. Yes, I know, this is a typical loner wolf playstyle where the person eventually warms up to the others in the party, but when that is what typically happens, it feels as if David only travels with us for plot convenience. Best way I can explain is to give a few details. David's character doesn't appear to trust or like our characters, but they usually come along anyway because we have the same goal in mind. But after the first interaction, he always starts going off on his own. If our party is investigating the inside of a house, David will make it known his character isn't interested and is bored. When the DM confirms that they just go and stand there, David will then go outside of the house to explore the shed or fencing for unspecified reasons. If we go shopping into a town, David's never interested in shopping, and when he is, it's never where the group wants to go, and instead of telling us what they want to do, he will leave without saying a word. It could have been a shop that we all planned to visit on our to-do list, but David skips ahead of everything we've agreed to as a group and just goes off on their own. Well, I've mentioned it before, the problem with these sort of problem players, whenever they become a problem, I'm assuming this is a problem player, is that they are uncooperative. It's fine if you want to be like lone wolf kind of character with like an edgy backstory or untrusting of others. That's fine. But your character joined this party for a reason. So why not come up with a reason to actually cooperate with this party? I don't get it. I don't understand. What do you expect the DM to do? To find a reason for your character to join the party? You join the party. Sorry for getting heated. These sort of things happen so many times and it's just so illogical. It just doesn't make sense. Why are you here then? If you don't want to be with this party, why are you here? One time we're leaving town. While doing some last minute preparations, David decides how his character, who didn't say anything worth doing, separates from us and goes and sits underneath a tree to relax, taking a nap. When the DM asks what he's doing, David says that someone in the group will come find him eventually. Why? Why would they do that? Why would they do that? David, if your character is a lone wolf, doesn't want to do anything with the party, doesn't want to talk to them, what reason do they have? For real. One of the players points out that he didn't tell us where he was going, and that none of us were going to want to waste our time searching the town for him when we all agreed to meet up at a specific location and time. Sometimes David will come and find us, other times he'll shrug it off and just keep waiting for us to find him. Why would the rest of the players care where your character is if you literally don't interact with them? Why would they care? And expecting the other player characters to even care. You gotta make bonds. Listen, I get it, right? You want to be a loner character. You want to be like a lone wolf, edgelord. Maybe not an edgelord, maybe just a lone wolf and stuff. You want to be deep and everything, and you want to be able to have the character form bonds. But you gotta give a reason for players to want to form the bonds, right? If you just want to sit by the tree and wait for somebody to get you, or when they have no reason to do so, I mean, you kind of sign your own contract there, David. You make a character that's very unapproachable and very difficult to interact with. For the most part, during roleplay, if he is around, David stays silent unless he's saying something out of character to insult us or our plans, but never does anything in character to give their opinion or help in any way. He makes it clear he's only going along with us because that's what the majority agreed upon. When he will ask his opinion, he will normally blow it off, saying that he can't really think of what to say right now, or if we are planning, that he doesn't have any idea of his own. David is such a jerk. David is so... Why do people tolerate David at the table? His character is insufferable. David alone himself is insufferable. What the heck? This isn't to say David doesn't roleplay, he does. But whenever he do so, it always seems like exasperated with our characters. Like, whatever we're doing or talking about is pointless. And it's not off a lack of interest, he makes detailed characters and seems excited to play D&D in our group chats. But it's like when we start playing, all that enthusiasm turns into pessimism, and the only time he really lets his character's personality shine is during one-on-one roleplay with the DM in moments his character has separated from us. But any group efforts are met with silence, demeaning comments, and sarcasm. There are times he wanders off and it seems like he's trying to get another character to follow him, because it blatantly asks if anyone's going to try to follow him to see where he is going, or will interrupt us to ask if anyone's going to check up on him. So it's hard to tell if he wants to do the things on his own or if he wants people to join him. If it wasn't for him to constantly talking about new character ideas, his excitement for the next session, and his love of telling everyone who might have missed the session what happened, I would assume he was in game for no reason. He generally seems to love D&D. If he loves D&D, David, if you love D&D, then why are you making your character so insufferable? Why are you being insufferable? I don't get it. It's like David expects, oh yeah, I'm making a broody edgelord character that is so interesting and deep, and I'm gonna follow my journey. Why aren't the players following me? Why aren't the players like my character? He's so cool. David, nobody knows that your character is cool because your character acts like a jerk. Everybody sees him as a jerk that doesn't want to get along with the party. When you berate other player characters as your player character, or even out of character, and the only person David is RPing with is a DM, because that's the only one that's willing to even RP with him. Like what, as NPCs or something? I'm not fully sure. I don't know how it goes. It's weird. It's so strange for David to do this. Before anyone wants to throw the DM on a cross and light it on fire, no. Our DM has not been silent about this.
Many times they've been asked to communicate more with the group when they wander off on their own, and the DM has tried to encourage them to roleplay more during moments when making plans that they keep belittling out of character, to which he has been told is not respectful of the party members. At one point, when he did his little thing where he's wandering off right before we are supposed to leave an area, say he's waiting for someone to come get him, the DM flat out told him no. This was mostly because our characters were on a time limit, and he had went so far away from us, it would have taken us an in-game hour to bring him back, assuming that our characters managed to find him right away, since Ranger would have had to track him because he's, again, didn't tell us anywhere where he was going. Our DM explained that if his character waited around for us to find him, it was going to hinder the party, and no one was going to be happy with this. David relented and eventually came to us. Reluctantly, might I add. It's like David thinks that his character lives in like an anime main character protagonist like story life. It's like when he's wandering off, he's the most important character walking away to brood or something, and he expects everybody to get him. Nobody knows or understands or even wants to get your character, and I'm glad the DM is actually being reasonable about this. The DM is actually putting David on blast, saying, listen, David, this makes no sense. This is hurting the party. I feel like David is one of the situations where it feels like pulling teeth. But sometimes this attitude can also drift into combat. Sometimes David will refuse to fight the first couple rounds because the situation doesn't involve him. Oh my god, David, you sound so insufferable. I'm gonna toss this book out of a window. Seriously. This could be because we're facing a big bad from someone's backstory, or one of the people in the party went and angered a goblin that now wants to impale him on a stick. This happens often because David will wander away from the party and will either keep doing whatever he went off to do on his own turn or stay out of initiative completely. Yeah, David, it doesn't concern you. How about you make a character that is concerned that his party is being attacked? Huh? Have you considered doing that? Have you considered that maybe if I make a character that actually cares for his party, wants to interact with his party, you get more involved. You're not some anime protagonist. This isn't the anime protagonist story of one single badass or something. This is a D&D campaign that has everybody in the party be the main characters. Why don't you be a good proper player and just interact with the party and go work with them? This doesn't concern me. I'm getting out of here. Let me know when you finish the combat. Yeah, of course nobody's going to want to interact with you when you do that. If you stay out of everybody's business, they're not going to get into your business. David, you make the most unapproachable character ever. Why? What's the point? What is your angle here? This can sometimes throw the balance of the game off when it's planned encounters by the DM. The only time we can get him to help us if he asks both in and out of character, which eats up time and bogs the game down, as he will argue that his character has no motive in this battle. Hey David, have you considered making a motive for your character? You're the one in control of what your character does, right? I know the whole each what my character would do stuff. How about you make a character that actually wants to get involved? How about you make a character that wants to help in combat? How about you make a character that wants to talk to the damn party? Come on, man! I am mad. I'm mad. I'm really mad, Tiefling. And a lot of times in the middle of battle, he'll add in on how the situations were in. And because, insert character here, did a dumb and that he can't believe our characters are jumping into trouble to save someone else who made a poor choice. Yeah, that happens, David. That happens. I had multiple times to jump into combat to save someone's life, even though it wasn't my responsibility, because guess what? A party member that I was with was in trouble. You think I'm gonna abandon them? Even as a jerk as me, I'm still gonna jump in and help somebody. If you're traveling with a party member that can hopefully help with your goals, would it not make sense to try to help with their goals and get them out of trouble so they can later get you out of trouble? David, it's very simple math. It's extremely simple reasoning and logic. Why do you make it so difficult, David? DM, the other players, and myself can't seem to figure David out. He hasn't been kicked from our group because in his eyes, none of these are kickable offenses and seem like minor issues that can be fixed. But they're issues that David might acknowledge one session and change his character's actions, but only for that session because the next he's back to separating himself or not helping during combat. There isn't any hostility behind it, not even when he's insulting our characters. It almost feels like he's wanting to roleplay in a specific way, like those cheesy moments in anime where a character goes off and another character chases after them and they have this big confession of feeling or something. But when a character does go after him, David just says he follows them or doesn't really interact with them. And the little interaction he does do on his own aren't like he has main character syndrome. He does mundane things that don't require a lot of detail. It's hard to figure him out, and when he has been questioned about it, he doesn't really give a lot of answers other than it's what his character would do, because they're the loner type. DM, I go off and I want to roleplay about me taking a nap near a tree. David walks off to the tree and takes a nap, and then come back to David again. David, what are you doing? Your party is in trouble. They're fighting fighting a horde of goblins and fighting a goblin king. DM, I'm just gonna keep sleeping, all right? David, keep sleeping. You think that's exciting? Who finds excitement in that? Who finds that exciting at all? There's other cool adventures happening to the rest of the party, and I'm glad the DM is facilitating that. But I mean, I feel like there's too many minor issues, right? There are too many little issues when it comes to David. But you know what happens? A lot of these little issues pile up. And with enough of them, it becomes insufferable. And honestly, I feel like the party or the DM should be like, listen, David, if you're not going to be cooperative, you're not going to be involved, what is the point being in a campaign? I've met 4 of his characters so far, and they all do the exact same thing. One of them, he just switched out because everyone disliked the loner attitude of this random person we just met, constantly wandering off. And he brought in a new character, only for that character to wander off and seem uninterested in whatever the party is doing, but never voicing it. David, listen, this is genuinely me saying this. Your character is a lamp. Your character is a fucking lamp. It literally stands in a corner and just sits there, doing nothing. People can come up and interact with it to turn it on and off, but it just sits there. Your character is literally a lamp. It just sits there and does nothing. Why aren't you play something more than a lamp? Why aren't you hungry? Why don't you desire to play something more than a lamp? Why, David? Why? The only main difference was his character was less moody than the last one and didn't wander off as far, but always made a habit to never explore. This is a sick joke, David. This is awful. I'm reading this and I'm in misery. I'm in tears right now. I know it looks like I'm angry, but I'm just... David, why? The character would always stand outside and just wait for us to return. It wasn't as if they were keeping watch. A lot of times he'd inspect random objects, or when the DM asked what he wanted to do, would say that his character was going just watching on us, sometimes often making comments about his character viewed us going into dangerous places as stupid and pointless. Even if the place wasn't dangerous, if this character was played as a coward, I'd understand. But this was never explained or broadened beyond insults. And it's never said in character, always out of character. When we do finally say enough and break character to ask him what he wants to do, he shrugs it off and says he doesn't have anything planned. He can keep going, he just milling about due to not having an opinion or any attachment that makes him interested in our goals. And then 5 minutes later, he will then tell the DM he's going outside or going to town to check out the shops. We ask him what we can do to make him more involved, but he tells us his characters wouldn't have any reason to be interested in what we're doing, or this character doesn't trust us enough to really get involved. We tried pulling his character into role-playing scenes, and he usually give a single answer or say that his character is blatantly ignoring us until they, once again, decide to wander off. It's tiring and I'm at my wit's end because I have no idea what to do. None of our players do, or the DM. Any attempt to evolve him in or out of character have been met with boredom or rejection. We ask him if he is having fun and he talks about D&D as if it was the highlight of the week. At this point, I'm just confused and I can't tell if he's a problem player or if maybe he just doesn't fit in our group style. However, we do have a group of people with wildly different styles. We have the role players, the power gamers, the battle lovers, the meme builders, and we all manage to respect and play with each other really well. I mean, I'm glad the rest of the party seems like they're having fun and seems like your group is good. I think David is just a really bad mesh. Like, I mean, I don't know, if your character is just a nihilist or a cynic or something, it's so one-dimensional and so boring to play. David, why do you do this to yourself? Why do you do this to yourself? You could be any flavor of D&D and you choose to be a lamp. You could be anything in the world and you choose to be a lamp. Please, David, reconsider making characters that are cooperative, social, at least speak out loud. If they have a problem with a party member, at least make it a character that says out loud and maybe has a fight that gets people to bond afterwards, because, you know, feelings are hurt, there's a fight, and then it'll reconcile and they become stronger, have better bonds. That'd be way more exciting than being a lamp. I wish you good luck, man. I wish the rest of the party with OP good luck, but I mean, like, ugh, I don't know what else to say. David needs to break out of the shell, or you guys gotta just part ways with him, because it's just too much. And with that, that's gonna be all our stories for today. I want to thank you very much for watching, and thanks so much for being here. If you like what I do, consider subscribing to the channel and leaving a like. Also, if the RPG Horror Stories ever goes down, or if you want to submit your own personalized horror story, email is down in the description below. I'll see you again in more Tales Tomorrow. Bye-bye.